Welcome to the Parts Girl podcast, powered by PartsEdge with Kaylee Filio. Conversations that will transform the way we do business. Gain insight into the wins and struggles from automotive professionals.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Parts Girl podcast. I'm very excited to be interviewing John today. Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is your first podcast, so I'm going to let everyone know so they know, put you on blast.
There.
But I wanted to interview you. I reached out to John because I saw him on Service Drive Live on a Sunday, and I was like, I need to interview this guy, and everyone needs to know about what he's doing. So before we go there, I want you to just tell us your name of your company, but also tell us your story. Like, how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm John, co-founder and CEO of Detect Auto, and we're an AI-based analytics platform for auto repair. So our goal with all the shops we work with is to improve their efficiency and profitability. And we got into this space in kind of an interesting and unique way. I actually pivoted this company from a previous one where we were selling computer vision based fans. So They were pedestal fans that would rotate back and forth, and they had a little camera in the middle of it. So it could always see you and it would always turn to point at you no matter where you walked around.
Interesting.
And we built that thing from the ground up. We took it to like 500 plus auto shops across the country. We were showing it to people, and we were realizing that we needed to do more with the data we collected outside of just cooling people. So we decided to start kind of trying some way to collect data on how vehicles were moving in shops. And when we started that process, we realized that we actually had a lot more to offer than just a fan. We had a whole analytics system we could build from the data we collected. So that's kind of how we got started. We've been building it out for the past year and change now. And we've been running pretty consistently with shops in the aftermarket. We're just now starting to look for our first dealership groups to pilot with.
Oh, very good. Very exciting. So you've been working with the aftermarket shops. So how has that experience been? Because, they're very different than dealerships, but they're very similar based on what you guys are collecting. We're looking at data and improving efficiency for technicians. And I really want to get into that in a moment. But what was it like working? How did you get in? I guess because you were already in with the fans, and then you started collecting this data. So once you started collecting the data, how did you present it to them? Or was it someone there curious about well, can you guys do more? Or I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. We really started collecting this data and seeing what we could do with it because, to be honest, we didn't really know what was out there. And as we started collecting this data, before we even built out the computer vision system, my team would be up literally all night labeling the data and recording every single event and every single thing that happened in the repair shops. So we would go through and figure out what technicians were working on at a given time, what vehicles were in repair bays. And we built out that whole entire platform to understand exactly what happened. So when we first started, we were just telling people what happened. But now we have an entire website and web application that people log into and can get detailed performance on their shop, their technicians, the vehicles, and how every single repair order is completed from start to finish.
Oh, okay. So what are they doing with all this information? It's when you're giving this to the shop, they're seeing how their techs are working, but what problem are you solving for them? And I think I know. I'm asking you.
Well, funny enough, one of the biggest problems shops have is collecting data, and we automate that process for them. I've seen a lot of shops we work with beforehand. They would even pay bonuses to technicians to enter this data, and they still wouldn't do it. And that's one of the biggest problems we solve is the manual data entry is gone when you start using our product. And from there, of course, there's a ton of other things we're working with, like just streamlining the efficiency of shops, removing bottlenecks, kind of the classic optimization problem you always have. We've been working through that, and we tell them exactly what part of the process they're getting hung up on. But it's not just in the repair bay either. It could also be you're taking way too long to transfer jobs from the front counter to your technician. So we track all of that too. So it's not just the work they're doing in the bay, but it's also the entire repair flow.
The flow. Oh, interesting. Okay. And then am I mistaken, but can AI kind of work with a technician? Like if they're working on a job and they're seeing it, I feel like AI can kind of guide them in like, you're going to need these parts before the tech could probably even like know that they need the part?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of companies I know today that do things like that, where they even have like voice assistants, where they can speak into a tablet and it'll tell them, you need to grab these parts for the job. So they don't even have to go and figure out what they're looking for. So there's a ton of like amazing technologies like that exist today. And we're just doing a small part of it. We're just focused on what's happening and how we can improve it. And then there's a whole other side of the business too that focuses on what are people doing in repair bays and how can we literally see what they're doing and tell them what to do before they even get to it.
Okay, so your process is more about efficiency and like where bottlenecks are, and just kind of like, and giving that data to like a sales manager, or not sales manager, service manager to work with their people to say, okay, let's give these jobs to Bob because Bob works really fast with these jobs, and let's give them, something like that. Is that kind of, am I on the right track?
Yeah, like that's a huge part, right? So we kind of focus on three things. It's really about the people in the shop that you're working with, the process and how you're getting the work done, and then how you're quoting and pricing those jobs. So when we focus on the people, you're exactly right. Certain people are good at certain types of jobs, and we want to make sure that they're working on those types of jobs that they're the best at. So we help with scheduling internally. But then the next phase from there is also the process. So trying to understand, are the technicians communicating effectively to the front of the house or vice versa? And how do we make sure that all those critical data points get transferred? So we kind of help with the communication from start to finish. And then lastly, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because not everyone puts the data in, so it's like inaccurate because you're not really tracking if not all the data is there. So
yeah, exactly. Like we're starting to figure out that status updates on vehicles are pretty important, and we want to give people the opportunity when they call into the service department, how long does my car have left? We're working on a system right now just to be able to give that to the customer automatically without them even having to check in with the service advisor. We'll just have that ready to go.
Wow. Okay. And then I see that being a benefit, but then I also see like that might be hard too for the service advisors, just to kind of to lose that control of like the flow of things. Maybe, I mean, it could help. Then also, I don't know. How are you guys running into going through that, or?
Yeah, there's certainly aspects of the job where what level of automation are we providing with AI versus where are we trying to take something off the plate of a person? And people are really good at thinking on their feet and understanding dynamic situations. And AI is really good at doing what you need it to do. And then maybe a little outside of the box thinking from there. So when someone calls in, for example, and wants to know how long a job has left, that's pretty easy to do. But if you need to understand exactly what's going on and all the details on the repair order, that might be a better time to tap in and talk to a person.
There you go. Yep. And then going back to, you had one more thing to provide, and then I have another question because you said there's.
Yeah. So like the last thing we focus on is pricing. And we know for a lot of customer paid jobs, sometimes the build hours and the labor guides don't necessarily reflect how long it actually takes to get the work done. So we've developed a lot of predictive analytics that we use to understand exactly how long we think it's going to take to get a job done. So if a labor guide says this job takes 5, but historically the shop's been taking a little bit longer, we kind of get ahead of that and use that to update our quotes and estimates for shops so that they're making sure their team and the shop as a whole is getting paid fairly for the work that they're doing.
That's a game changer. That's huge. Because I feel like, they can dig themselves. It's like they're creating the hole if they're underquoting, right? They're putting 4 hours when the shop actually takes 5 hours. So by getting ahead of that, it's like it's all out there, and it's not like, oh, we got to charge more.
100%. And it's really interesting too. We've seen so many jobs come in where people it's a $10,000 ticket where they're doing a full engine replacement. And that looks like a really great job on paper because the shop's making so much money. But when you break it down, if they build 20 hours for that job and it actually took the technician 50 hours to do it, but the car sat in the repair bay for 250 hours, they went from an estimate of making $500 an hour all the way down to $40 an hour from what the bay was actually able to produce. So it's crazy to see that.
And you can show all that.
Yep, we collect all that and give it back to shops to kind of show them exactly where they're losing money on and what they need to do so it doesn't happen again.
That's amazing. Okay. And then I had a question about, it was about the text, because I don't know if your guys does this or if it's a different service, but basically like showing them, which jobs they're better at. I feel like that might be hard to take, like as a tech, like you feel like you're good at all the jobs and then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm not good at that one, or I'm not the best, because it's a competitive environment. So how has that been? How have you experienced with your experience? Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that we've done with the technicians that we work with is we use this as a tool to help them get paid fairly and also give them the appropriate amount of time to do the work that they were slated to do. So as far as like showing people what jobs they're good at and what jobs they're not as good at, our software does that. And we do show breakdown by job, which ones are the most efficient and least efficient at. But I think that's also good to know too, if you're looking for training opportunities or ways to improve yourself as a technician. You can see literally objective facts as to what you're good at and what you need to work on. It gives you a lot more opportunity to focus and make improvements that actually will drive a measurable difference in your work.
Absolutely. I feel like, once you get past like, oh, this computer's telling me that I could be better or this technology, then I feel like it could be a really great tool for techs to really hone in on some of their weaknesses. Because, in reality, we all have weaknesses in our process and things that we do. And to be able to see it plain in front of us and ways to improve, like, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, how did you get to this point though? Like, where is your background? Where's this? Yeah.
So I have a really great team, honestly, and that's probably the only way we've gotten this far. So my background's in mechanical engineering. We have a few people on our team who have degrees in computer science, and then we have a few people who do business development and sales as well. And honestly, it's kind of like our experiences plus our advisor who has a couple shops out in the Denver area. We test our product in his shop and work with him every single week to make sure that the tweaks and the changes we make actually do something. Mm-hmm. So it's been pretty great to see our backgrounds with robotics and AI and our business advisors' experience working with auto repair and combining those two systems to really create something that drives measurable differences in shops. It's pretty incredible.
That is incredible. When you can bring those types of backgrounds and minds together, you can really just create something bigger, really bigger than yourself. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what you guys do in the dealership space. That's why as soon as I heard about what you were doing, especially, in parts, I don't know, because you mentioned there's some companies out there that already are doing that. Is that something that you guys are going to look into?
Yeah. Honestly, so many things. I know that's one of the biggest bottlenecks that shops face with repairs and waiting for parts to come in. And we can do some stuff right now where we can kind of hopefully provide a little bit of an estimate of how long something's going to take to get parts in, but it's not great. And that's not something we're really solid on right now. Down the road, though, understanding how long parts will take to come in and have a better way to predict that for our optimization of workflows and shops, that's going to be massive. And we're excited to have that, but it's going to take some time to get there.
It is going to take time, but I think in the meantime, what I see, and it might already be out there, is just that help with identifying the parts that are actually needed for the job, so that the counter people aren't looking at these obscure, crazy catalogs to figure out the parts that are needed. Is that something that you see? Is that something that's already out there, or?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know if I've seen something quite like that, but I will say one of the things we focus on is the communication from the technicians to the parts counter, even to the service advisor, right? And having that whole loop closed a little bit. So if a technician puts something on a ticket and it doesn't get ordered, we can definitely catch that. And vice versa, if something maybe got ordered in the wrong way or the wrong part was ordered, we do see that and we can audit that. And we try to do that in real time so we can get ahead of it, as opposed to you waited 3 days for a part to come in and it's the wrong one. You got to go back and order another one.
That's a big deal, especially with new people that are training. A right is a left and a left is a right. It's totally different. And if you're not communicating in the right way, like if a tech's not communicating or vice versa, that's where wrong parts get ordered. So if you guys can do that is going to be like huge. That's going to take so much.
Hopefully it's on the timeline, but we're working on a ton of different things right now.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably being able to see that so much data like that. It's probably so overwhelming to figure out, okay, where do you even hone in on where to focus? Because there's so many things you can solve. Yeah,
there's literally endless possibilities on what we can do with the data we collect. And it's fun to start working in the service base, but there's a whole lot more than just the repairs. So there's a ton of areas to optimize, and we're just working on one right now, but we want to get to all of them.
That's very cool. I'm excited to see what you guys do. So getting to know you a little bit because that's what I like to do on the podcast. I don't like to talk about all work stuff. What's something that do you have any hobbies? Do you do anything for fun? Do you just build robots? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely do a lot of nerdy stuff in my free time, which isn't really free time. So I like building computer vision systems to do fun, unique things. We're building for our trade show booth, actually, a computer vision system that will be able to demo and count who comes to the booth, what they're doing when they walk up to it and everything. So got a lot of fun things we're putting together there. But outside of that,
it would be huge for any vendor just to have that. Very cool.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun things I like to build. Outside of that, I love spending time with my family, with my girlfriend. We do a lot of things together. I just moved to Fargo, North Dakota, actually, from Minneapolis a couple months ago as part of a startup accelerator I'm in. So that's been fun too, getting to know Fargo and the area.
Yeah. Whenever I hear Fargo, I think of that one show. I don't even remember what show it was. I think was it called Fargo?
It was called Fargo,
Such a weird show. That's the only time I think of, and I think I went there for a convention one time. I think it was Fargo. So how has the move been? That's a totally different environment. Are you guys do you guys like going outdoors? Do you explore or? Yeah.
Oh, it's been awesome. I would say this city is really starting to have a lot of innovation and tech talent coming into it. So it's really starting to blow up, which has been a lot of fun. You can see so many new cool companies coming into space, working with AI and a ton of new technology. It's fun to see. But the outdoors here is pretty nice too. There's a nice river to go run by, and it's beautiful now. It was a little cold when I moved at first, but now it's been really nice.
Yeah, I would be scared of that because I'm in Arizona. So
yeah, totally.
The coldness is scary. And then tell us just a little bit about what was I going to ask you about? Basically some qualities or things that you like when working with others, because it sounds like you have a really great team that you work with. Is there certain things that you look for when you're working with someone, qualities you admire?
Yeah, I think I really appreciate when people are willing to take a chance on something, make a calculated risk. One of the things you have to do when growing a company and building a startup is you have to understand that you got to try a ton of ideas, and then you really quickly need to get feedback on those ideas from your customers to see if it's actually making the difference you think it is. So I think calculated risk takers and people who are open to trying something and then moving on to the next thing very quickly. Those are very good qualities to have.
Those are good qualities. And then also too, just getting that feedback and being willing to give that feedback to you, because it might be hard, when you're designing or creating something and then they give the feedback and it's not what you expected or something. I don't know. It might be. Yeah.
I thrive on feedback, for better or for worse.
I bet. Yeah, it's good to have feedback because then you can change because it's like how else to you it's the best thing ever, but to them it's like, well, maybe it should do this or that, or we're going through that right now at PartsEdge, creating stuff because we all have different minds and we're like, well, it should do this or that. So yeah. All right, so this is part of like the fun questions. So if you could compare yourself to an animal, what animal would it be and why?
Oh man, an animal I could compare myself to. Well, I've always wanted to be an eagle. I think being an eagle would be fun. Flying would be great. Top of the food chain, I don't really know. I think eagles are cool though, so I'd like to be one. I think the flying would be the best part. And if you're the biggest bird, hopefully no one would pick on you. So that sounds good to me.
I don't think so. I think eagles are pretty badass. Like I feel like I just saw something where, I think it was either on Facebook or something. It was like an eagle was carrying a rattlesnake through the air, and it's like, it does that because the rattlesnake has no control. It can't do anything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the eagles are amazing. That's cool. I haven't had anyone say that before. Most people say lions, dogs. So
no, I'd love to fly. That'd be awesome if I could fly. So eagle would be fun.
It'd be really cool to fly. Okay, how would your grandma describe what you do?
That is a tough one. Well, I used to, before we really got going, I actually used to build our cameras myself in the basement of my grandparents' house. So she'd probably say I was doing something weird in her basement.
That's good. Yep. I love asking that question too. And then since you're in the car business, technically, what's your favorite car or what do you drive daily?
Yeah. Well, I've had the same car since high school. It's a 2010 Honda Fit Sport. And nice. I'm 6'4", so I barely fit in that car. No pun intended. But I love it. I mean, it's great. Does the job. It's a great commuter vehicle. I've recently started doing some more when I go on trips and travel and stuff. I really love taking out the electric vehicles. Those are just a ton of fun to get to try out. So I enjoy driving. I think I had a Tesla Model Y last time I was in Los Angeles, and that was a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, they're interesting. I think I rode in one when they first started coming out, which was like probably 7-8 years ago, 10 years. I don't even know how long. But it was crazy how you could just press the gas and you just like felt like you were in the spaceship and then in the Jetsons.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite part about it is driving with just one foot because of the regenerative braking. That's really cool.
That's interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. I mean, they do have a secondary pedal for brakes, but if you take your foot off and kind of moderate it, you can control the speed of the car pretty well.
Oh, technology. Amazing. So how can everyone get a hold of you? I'm sure you guys have a website, I hope, right?
Yep. Yeah. Our website is detectauto.com. My email is john@detectauto.com. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn at Jonathan Cabak. Happy to talk to anyone over there.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll have all the links too when we share this, but I always like to ask, like, what's the best way to reach you? And most people say LinkedIn because it's just a great way to connect with people and network. So I'm really glad I got to interview you, and pretty soon you're probably going to get on a lot of podcasts, I think. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add or close with?
We're currently accepting applications for our first pilot program. So we're looking to take on 2 to 3 dealerships for that. So if anyone is interested in that or wants to learn more, always happy to have that discussion.
Yeah, we'll definitely shout that out too, that you're looking for some pilot dealerships. So that's really cool. I'm excited to hear about them.
Sweet.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. PartsEdge, the power tool for your parts department. We hope you're leaving feeling motivated, challenged, and inspired.